Welcome. Today we have something a little bit different. A National Panasonic RQ 434DS. It's something of a passion project for me because back in the very early 1970s or to mid 70s, I had a friend who had one and we made a number of radio programs and did very silly things with it, like letting the batteries go flat, thus when you played it back everything sped up and made chipmunk noises. I had a less than successful Rambler at the time, which was $39 from Greensboro Bulk Store. This was $100 or $99 from somewhere. I believe it might have been the bulk store, but I'm not sure on that. Another friend of mine had a flat on the table Sharp which had automatic recording level. Neither the Rambler or this Panasonic have automatic recording level, but I seem to remember, and the tapes from it do sound fairly okay. They're a bit muffled in the high end, but they do have plenty of a reasonable frequency response and a warm sound to them. This one, well, I don't know whether my memory is playing tricks or not, but I'll let you watch the video and see what happens with it. There was some things which I couldn't fix and others which are working just fine. So sit back, enjoy the video. As you can see, I restarted to take this apart. There was a ton of dust down the bottom here. So let's finish taking the screws out and we'll see if we can get these boards apart. Okay, so that one, so we've got one there and one there. Take the knobs off. Aha, finally. Wow. How cheap. So I'll bring you down and we'll have a bit of a closer look. Everything is very sticky because of the wax, and this has been in a house with a smoker. So I'm going to plug it back in again. These are the horrible old plugs they used to put on portable gear. Not very safe. Okay, it's plugged directly into the isolation transformer. There's no need for the variac for this. I know it basically works. Let's switch it on and we'll see what is happening. So it is trying to pick up things. So the front end is working. So I'm going to try something here with the oscilloscope. I have the oscilloscope set up, and what should happen is we should get a sine wave when I pass this probe near the mixer transistor. Getting some activity, but as you can see, it's not a very clean signal. So that should be a pretty perfect sine wave there. And tuning it through the dial makes no difference whatsoever. So we have to find one of these transistors which is faulty. I don't know whether you can hear this, but as I move the probe around, so my next step will be to take the board off of the chassis metal thing, and we'll see where we get with that. There are a couple of capacitors on here, there and there and there, so I might change those, although they won't do anything in the short term. Well, that was rather more difficult than expected. There was a ton of Loctite on it and wax on about 3 of the screws. So now I can't move the board more than a couple of millimeters. I'm going to test the oscillator again because I've changed a few of the components, and also the aerial, those fine wires have come loose, so we'll see what happens. I can vaguely hear the station. Although we're getting very nothing out of it. So it would have to be one of the mixer transistor. Which means this will go to bed for another time. This is yet another project that has stuff waiting on it. Not sure whether you can see that or not, but the transistors are there, there, and down in there. They are really tiny. I didn't even notice they were there. And I've searched for the last hour on the internet and I can't find any reference to them. Of course, I don't have the schematic for this, but I have found a schematic, but it is from a dodgy site and it's, yes, expensive. So I'm not quite sure whether it's worth buying that or not. But those are absolutely tiny. They're about 3 millimeters in diameter and about 1 millimeter high. I've never seen anything like that before. Remember, this was built in 1973. Well, it's back together again over this side. I do have a couple of spare screws which I'll put in eventually. This side is undone and it looks as though it might lift out easily. No. There it is. Yuck. That is pretty disgusting. So if we can lay it over. Wow, the motor is absolutely bigger than the transformer. Okay, I'm going to quickly clean this up and I'll be back. So that wasn't quite as bad as some of the things I've seen over the years. The worst was a Marantz amplifier and must have had a cat sitting on it because it was absolutely stuffed completely. I took about, well, not a supermarket bag, but a fruit bag around about this size, and it was absolutely full of cat's hair. Okay, so let's see what we've got to do here. Not much on this side, I would think. We'll just plug it in. And where's the... Well, it's working. Pinch roller isn't that hard. In fact, it's quite soft. These were really quality machines. As I may have said, they cost around about $100 when new, back in 1973, so that was quite a considerable amount of money. And the machine that I had was a Rambler cassette recorder, which wasn't very good, and that cost $40 at the same time. So, or a little bit earlier actually. So we'll have a look at the circuitry on the other side. That cap will need replacing because it's a grey Elner cap. So we'll do that and I'll be back. Let's see if this works. Trying not to get myself electrocuted.
Saturday night at the Seaview, Bear Garden, Honeymoon and Green, Cryptic Tones. 3 headlining bands for just $4. Saturday night, Seaview Ballroom, Fitzroy Street, St Kilda. Another 3 PBS Seaview frugal promotion.
PBS FM 107.7, and you're listening to Worst Record Show tonight with Mario and Bruce.
Okay, now that I've assaulted you with Leonard Nimoy, let's get back to this. I've taken the screws out of the board. I think this will be the heat sink for the power transistors. Not sure how I'm going to be able to desolder that. Oh yeah. Okay, let me take a picture, desolder a cable so I can flip it over. Well, it turns out it's a fairly straightforward, simple circuit. There's a coil or a relay? Is it a relay? Yeah, it's a relay. Not quite sure what that does. Maybe that switches between 9 volts and 240 volts. So I'm going to replace these big caps to start with. That one I can't replace because I don't have the value. And I think some of the others too. There is actually a Panasonic cap in there. I was beginning to think that this was maybe made by Sanyo or someone like that. Maybe the grey Elner caps, which fail so regularly, were cheaper at the time than their own caps. So there's a resistor that's not populated there, not populated there. A diode that's not populated there. Capacitor that's not populated there. Resistor there. So all in all, looks fairly straightforward. It's recapped and sounding sort of acceptable actually. some of the trebles come back. So I don't know what's going on here. Thanks, Leonard. Okay, we'll be back when I put it back into its case. Well, it's semi-back together again. And it sounds like an early 1970s cassette deck. Or cassette recorder, I should say.
Growing stronger, warm and wilder. It's getting better every day, better every day.
Oops. So I'm going to leave you with a bit of Leonard Nimoy again. And this song is on YouTube, but I recorded this about 35 years ago off the radio. This machine doesn't sound quite as good as I remember. It sounds like a early 1970s radio cassette, and a budget one at that. But here we go.
It would come with rockets, bells, and poetry.